friends, I want to jump into what are the elements of case for support. As I mentioned a little while ago, before Jimmy shared that story with you, I think 80% of your case you already have. It lives on your website, in your brochures, in your collateral documents, in things you've written for grants. So much of your case, an institutional case, you probably already have. Jackson Doggett, are you here with me? And can you talk about institutional case?
Yes, Stephanie. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Great. Um, Many people think that the case is one of the hardest things to do in the major gifts ramp up, and it's really not. Um, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have not even formed your 501c3 yet, and you have a great idea, but you don't have a history, because the first part of the institutional case is the history and mission. And you say, I don't have a history. I haven't even incorporated yet. I haven't gotten started yet. I can't do a case for support. Well, the answer is yes, you can, because as the founder, you have a story. And your story is so compelling that it made you want to do what you are doing. If you already exist and you're involved and you're doing it, of course, you have a story. Why are you involved? Why is it that this is compelling to you? And by the way, the case needs to impress you before it impresses anybody else. So in the history and mission of your case, there's the founder story. There are milestones with dates. Again, you might say, well, we don't have any milestones yet. Well, your area of service has milestones and dates, and it has something to do with why you are doing what you are doing. So there are ways to actually get your case, compelling case, together. And there is a history that has caused you to come to the point that you want to give your life to what you're doing. This is your tilapia farm. So then there's an initial vision. You want to express what the vision is and what your mission is. What do you need to advance your mission? And that's going to come in the vision, of course, but you also need to know what facilities growth you need. What are the service opportunities? One of the ideas that I try to help nonprofits with when I'm working with them is not being stuck on what you think can happen, but deal with what needs to happen. A great dream backed by a sound plan will bring all that money because the river of philanthropy is deep and wide. I love that statement. I first heard Jimmy say it. The river of philanthropy is deep and wide. And
So
there will always be plenty of money for those with a great dream backed by a sound plan. So let's say that you have great ideas for service that are needed. You have done your homework. You know what it would cost to actually solve a problem rather than just service it. But you cannot see yourself getting the money that you found out it would take. You cannot see yourself being able to afford the staff that you currently do not have, but you know that you need. You can't see yourself doing it. Well, if you put it in your case document in a manner that impresses you that, my goodness, if I just had this, look at the impact we could make. If it impresses you, it's going to impress others and those with means, because they can see it's not just a let's exist kind of plan. It's a let's get something done kind of plan. So the history and mission, even if you don't think you have it, you do have it, and we could help you with that. The second part is the people and leadership. So people want to know. A very, very, very successful man once told me, it is better to be in a bad deal with good people than to be in a good deal with bad people. The founder story, the president, the executive, the vice president, the board of directors, the director of development, all these people will be listed there. And people do something nowadays that they didn't do when I was much younger. And that is, they know this thing called Google. And they're going to look up who's associated with you. Are these good people, or who are they? So you want to think clearly about who's on your team to help you achieve this great dream. Then the finances and stewardship. Overhead. Is there such a thing as overhead? No, there isn't. Nobody asked. I love this. I heard one person say this. I don't know if you say it, Stephanie, but I know others say it. When you go to a restaurant and they bring you the bill, nobody asks, how much of this is going to the chef? How much of this is going to the wait staff? How much of this is going to the bathroom facility? How much? What you wanted was an experience and a meal. And when they bring you the bill, you pay for the experience and the meal. It's the same thing with a not-for-profit. It's not that we're spending more than 3 to 5% on administrative costs. It costs what it costs to make the impact you make. And
Yes.
when you're able to express that, people will give because the great idea is backed by a sound plan, and the impact is what really is making the difference. So when you break out the expenses and the programs and all of that, you do it in such a way, it's not a line item. We're paying this much for salaries, this much for, it's here's what it costs to do this program. And you know what all the individual costs are on the backside, but on the front side, when you're sharing it, you're showing this is what it costs to actually, this building is necessary, these vehicles are necessary, all of those things. But you're not breaking down, we spend X amount for gas and X amount. You're saying the program costs this, and there are vehicles and their buildings and their staff, and all of that is there because the impact of this program is, and you're able to express that. Services and products, therefore, you are able to show what you're doing and how it's impacting your community. There's statistical dates, and you see all the things on page 36. And then number 5, the uniqueness and distinction. How is your organization different? And if there are any other organizations with similar mission, what's different about yours? Now, to illustrate this, many restaurants serve steak. Many restaurants. But what's different about how you serve your steak? Ruth's Chris does it different than Morrison. Morrison does it different than Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory does it different. Once you've been to these different places, you have an idea of what the difference, the unique differences are. You need to know how is your way of doing what you're doing. That is the unique thing about you. And everybody has a unique thing. You've got to just think about it and express it in a way that people can see the difference, and it makes a difference. Your case for support is so powerful, but I want to emphasize one more time before I turn it back over to Stephanie. If your case does not impress you, it's not going to impress anybody else. If your case impresses you, and it should because you've given your life to this, if it impresses you, it will impress others. You just have to believe that what you have not yet seen can manifest if you follow the process.
Friends, it's time to take an offering.
I was just going to say, Jackson just took us all to church on Case for Support. Yes, man. Thank you. Yes.